Even though we just broke ground on our Cincinnati-based office, the bosses are already threatening me. If we do not get 200 likes on this video, I might not be allowed to do as many Bengals breakdown videos. So help me out. Like today's video right now. Welcome into Bengals Breakdown by Chat Sports. I am Tom Downey here with the latest rumors around the Bengals. Heavy contract talk on today's show, beginning with Joe Mixon, which I am a bit surprised we're here, but we're going to break it down. The Athletic again reported a pay cut could be possible for Joe Mixon. They had initially reported that before the NFL draft. Then the buzz kind of died down around it, so I'm like, okay, it's not going to happen. Well, Paul Dehner, who I love, once again, said it is a real possibility for Cincinnati. He's due about $10 million in salary and various bonuses, workout, roster per game bonuses. So there is potential savings if the Bengals were to take a pay cut, which isn't necessarily a sure thing. So here's what Paul Dehner wrote. The endgame about Joe Mixon will be about whether or not he's willing to realign his $12.8 million cap hit and $10 million in cash to the current state of the running back market. If he's not, the Bengals will probably tap into the veteran backwaters that are currently overflowing with victims of the philosophical shift away from paying the position. That's pretty clear of pay cut or cut, at least that's how I read it. And it's interesting. A pay cut would be ideal, I think, for all parties involved. Mixon gets to stay with the Bengals. Bengals save some money. Now, I do think pay cut as opposed to restructure is the operative buzzword there, because a restructure the Bengals can do. That doesn't saves them money short term, not so much long term. Not sure the Bengals would be on board with that. What the Bengals have leverage-wise is the threat of leverage. They don't necessarily have it because they don't have great bodies right now in their running back room. They have Travion Williams, Chase Brown, Chris Evans. Those are bodies, but those are not clear-cut, immensely talented football players, right? Now, there are veterans available, at least as of filming. As of now, there are 4 notable veteran backs: Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Kareem Hunt. How many of those guys are better right now than Joe Mixon? Maybe Dalvin Cook. It's not Zeke. It's not Fournette. It's not Kareem Hunt. You could save, if you could get Dalvin Cook, since he wants more than $6 million. Cut Mixon, save 10. They're going to give Cook 7. Is that really worth it? $8 million is $2 million in savings worth it short term? You're still eating dead money next year? I'm not so sure. So the threat of leverage is there for Mixon, or against Mixon from the Bengals, I should say. But the staff, the front office, have consistently backed him. So interesting is the word I will continue to use there. Maybe what they try to do, the phrase is also like they're going to pay Burrow and Higgins and then talk to Mixon like, okay, the longer you wait, the less leverage you have in terms of actually getting a good pay cut. So I would say let's monitor this one. This is definitely a story worth watching. Maybe not a guarantee it goes down one way or the other. So will Joe Mixon take a pay cut? Y for yes, N for no. It is today's pinned comment. If an ad plays here on YouTube, ignore the ad. Nobody cares. Go vote Y or N at the pinned comment. Let's talk extensions now. First up, T. Higgins. ESPN took a look at the status of a bunch of players. They, frankly, did not have much to say on Joe Burrow, who we'll get to, but they had some stuff to say on T. Higgins here. The Bengals have made it clear they would not trade T. Higgins. They were not going to do it. I love Duke Tobin's line. Asked about it, he says, go find your own receiver. Now, the reality is a Higgins extension is going to have to wait until the Bengals pay Joe Burrow. Burrow is the correct organizational priority, but Higgins, there is still money in the banana stand for him. Here's what Ben Baby of ESPN wrote about Higgins. The timing of a deal could hinge on contracts for other wide receivers in the 2020 draft class, including Minnesota's Justin Jefferson. That will give agent David Mulgeta and the Bengals working parameters as the market for elite pass catchers remains hot. I actually don't know how much Jefferson and even like a CeeDee Lamb's deal impacts Higgins, because I think those guys are just going to get more than Higgins. Higgins is great, don't get me wrong. I think those guys are, Lamb's a tier above Higgins and Jefferson's a tier above both those guys. Now, that could still be just under what Lamb gets, and that could be $24.5 million, right? It's not often you see what is basically a 1,000 yards receiver each of his first 3 years. We'll take, some of the other yards from 2022 and 2021, put them in 2020, 1,000-yard average, right? That's valuable. That is not as easy to find as some might make it out to be. So, on the Bengals, once Burrow's done, I'm locking up T. Higgins because I know that I'm going to have to pay Higgins and Chase, shoot, it might approach $60 million, $55 million. I think it's worth it in the end. Speaking of worth it, a deal for you guys today, chatsports.com/Bengals hats. You can get the T-shirt hat combo pack, the Joe Burrow style headband. He was a buddy of mine sent me a photo of him at a coffee shop. Joe Burrow there, rocking his headband. You love to see it. Chatsports.com/Bengals hats. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. They're on sale. Tons of styles, varieties, colors, fits, designs, flat bill, rounded, whatever style you like, they have one for you. Chatsports.com/Bengals hats. Let's move to Joe Burrow, as promised. The Bengals and Burrow publicly and also privately not saying that much about the contract talks at this stage. The Athletic even thinks that Justin Herbert gets his massive extension done first. Whether it's next or second next for Burrow and the Bengals, all sides appear quite confident a deal gets done. It's a matter of figuring out probably less of the average per year. It'll be about $53 million per year, and more of how many years? What's the guarantee structure like? How much guaranteed? What are is there a no trade clause? Whatever. There's a lot to figure out of the nitty-gritty details for a contract of this size, because it will be a massive contract for Joe Burrow. There's no doubts about that. When it's all said and done, maybe in 2 months, Herbert, Burrow will be the top 2 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Jones and Prescott will slide out of that top 10. At least, maybe Dak gets paid again in the near future, but Burrow's going to get a massive deal, as he should. Who gets paid first, though? I'd love to pay Burrow before Herbert. In theory, that he gets paid less than Herbert. That's a little win. Even only saves you maybe $1 million per year, but I'd like it that way. Who gets paid first? B for Burrow, H for Herbert. My apologies for my voice, sounding like I'm dying. Don't feel great, but hey, we power through to give you guys the videos that you want. That's what we do here at Chat Sports. So hit that sub button for more free Bengals videos. Not quite every day, but damn close to it. Hit that sub button right now. Let's talk now about the right tackle battle. Jonah Williams, back at minicamp, was present. Not a full participant, kind of worked more on the sides, doing the drills, the medical rehab drills he was going through there. He is still the heavy favorite to start at right tackle. The other top contenders are Jackson Carman, who's bounced around the positions for the Bengals, and last year's right tackle starter, Lyle Collins. Paul Dehner of The Athletic had his odds put out for who starts at right tackle. He's got Jonah Williams, 75%, Jackson Carman, 20%, and then Lyle Collins at 5%. I find that interesting. We'll break down all 3 players here, but who do you think starts at right tackle come week 1? JW for Jonah Williams, JC for Jackson Carman, or LC for Lyle Collins? Go ahead and vote for that right tackle who you think it is in the comment section right now. I'm going to lean towards Jonah Williams being the guy. They're paying him the most money. When in doubt, follow the money, right? Williams was not great last year. He struggled. He had ups and downs, wasn't very consistent, was also a bit banged up. He's got upside still. I think he's the likely starter at right tackle, in part because I don't think Lyle Collins is going to be healthy for week 1. He's still working his way through the injury, the brutal knee injury he had. There is maybe a chance the Bengals cut him once he's healthy to save some money, but having been through this path before, you know what? Extra offensive line depth, not a bad thing if you're the Bengals. Does not sound like, by the way, he will compete at all for a left guard role. That's going to be Cordell Volson. And Jackson Carman is getting reps with the ones at right tackle right now. Sounds like he's going to stick in a backup role behind Williams or Collins, but upward progress for a guy that was really bad as a rookie, much better last season.